excited about this. So welcome, and let's move together. I would like to start standing. So make your way to the mat and find yourself in a comfortable stance. I like to stand with my feet about hip distance apart, or maybe a little bit wider. Wider feels like a stronger base for me for the postures that we're going to move into. So do what feels good for you. And begin to take the knees forward and glide the hips back. So we're standing, knees forward, hips gently back. There's almost a slight hover of the heels, so you're in this springy, dynamic posture. It's comfortable and the joints are soft. Take your fingertips to the tops of the thighs. Use this to press the thighs away and lift the heart away from the hips. So we're looking for lots of space in the belly, opening the belly to start. There's a gentle pulse as the knees move forward, the hips move back, and we press extension into the belly. Get so long. Lift the chin. And take your attention to the feet. The toe pads and mounds, the front paw of the foot, is pressing into the mat and energetically out to the sides. The knees hug external, and this activates into the glutes. Take a moment, bend deep or take the hands to the outside edge of the knees. Press the knees wide into the hands. Notice this activates into the glutes. Keep that engagement. Rise back up. Everything active. Take the left hand forward of the heart. Sweep the right hand back, cupping the back of the head. Press the head gently into the hand to lift the throat. We're going to use this left arm as a lever. So as if you were pressing down on the edge of a pool to pull yourself out, lengthening the belly, using tensegrity to lift the hips away from the heart, or the heart away from the hips. Rising up through the right forearm. Continue to pulse and breathe. And sweep the left hand back, both hands cup the back of the head, pulse the midline, knees forward, hips back, forearms rise towards the sky, lift and lengthen. Notice that I keep a gentle bend in the knees the whole way. Opening the belly, opening the throat. Release the right hand, press forward, and again using that tensegrity motion, pressing down to lift the ribs up, rising through the left forearm. The elbow should be forward so you can see it in your line of vision. This helps us to broaden the space between the shoulder blades on the back of the heart. Take one last breath. And sweep both hands back, cupping both sides of the skull. Rise high through center, lift and lengthen. And come back through neutral, curl the chin into the chest and just roll the chin along the chest for a moment, opening up between the shoulder blades and the back line of the neck. lift the chin out of the throat. Release the left hand to the top of the thigh this time. Right hand stays behind the head. Head presses into the hand. Sit the hips back and wide. Rise up through the right forearm. Arc over to the left. Lengthening the right sideline. Lifting up through the right ribs. Notice the belly stays long and the chin stays lifted. Elbow hugs in towards the nose, and we're using the elbow to lead us up and over. Pressing the thigh away, keeping space on the left side so we don't collapse. And then sweep the left hand back, cupping the back of the head, and make this motion a little bit bigger. Crescent to the left, hips back, knees forward, lengthen the belly, rise up through the right side ribs. And come back through center, pulse through the center, rise high, find all your length. And then release the right hand, catching the top of the right thigh. Rise up through the left forearm, arcing up and over to the right. Gentle pulses, softness in the knees and in the groins. Lifting up from the left side ribs. Pulsing into extension. Take one more pulse and sweep the right hand back, cupping the back of the head. Make this movement a little bit bigger now. Knees forward, hips back, rise high, arc over. And connect the toes, press down and up to the sides. Can you keep the glutes engaged? And come back through center, pulse the midline, rising straight up. And then release both hands forward. Press the arms so far forward that the shoulder blades come apart on the back of the heart. Lift the chin. Step the feet wide off of the mat. Take your hands, horseshoe hold to the tops of the thighs and just glide the legs from side to side. Moving at your own pace. Can you keep the hips back and the belly long, the chin lifted? Add a softness in the knees. We don't want to lock out the joints. And come through center, find stillness. Pivot the toes to the left. Take a deep bend into the knees and glide the hips back. Extending through the left leg. Rooting the femur into the hip socket. Find a little pulse. Bending and extending through the knee, looking for an extension in the back line of the left hamstring. Option to stay up high, or option to walk the hand down the shin if you need a little bit more. Can you keep the lower lumbar moving in at the base of the spine? This means that the glutes press wide and mound up towards the sacrum. Option to take your right hand to your bum. Pick up the bum. We want our bum to be lifted. Tell it where you want it to go. Take one more pulse. Breathe. Take both hands. Frame the left foot facing forward. We're going to spring off the back foot, transfer weight to the left, come into infinity. Heel meets the top of the left knee. If this is too much, you can take the heel to the shin or even toes to the floor. I like up high, and it's okay to put the heel here because we're going to bend into the knee a lot. Send the knees forward and the hips back. Use the arms pressed down to lift the ribs away from the hips, lengthening the belly, open the throat. Breathe, stay with it. Option to pulse. Ground down through the standing toes. Last inhale. Release the foot from the thighs, step it wide off of the mat, come back through center. Horseshoe hold to the tops of the thighs. We'll take some shoulder dips. Right shoulder dips to the left. Left shoulder to the right. And just moving at your own pace, right to left, left to right. Come back through center. Bend the knees, send the hips back. So we're really recruiting the legs before we stand up tall. Raise the heart, pivot the feet towards the right. Bend into the knees, setting up other side. Root the femur back into the hip socket as you extend through the right leg. Little pulses, rooting the hips back and wide. We want to keep a little bend in the knee the whole way so that we support engaging the fascia around the joints rather than locking them out. This is how we build strength and increase the mobility in this area. If this is not enough, walk the hand down the shin. Hips root back and wide, open belly, lifted chin. You can take left hand to the bum. Grab low, pick it up. Creeping into the inner thigh. And take one more pulse here. Breathe. And then sweep the hands forward, framing the right foot. Transfer weight to the right. Push off the back foot. Sweep the heel forward and connect it to the top of the right thigh. Knees forward, hips back. This is one variation. This is another variation. Heel to the shin. And this is another one for stability. Toes to the floor. If you're here, really press the hands forward of the heart. This is your counterbalance. The hips root back. The arms press forward, lifting the heart, lifting the chin. Option to pulse. And ground down through the standing toes. This is strong. Can you find a softness? Last inhale. Bend into the knee. Step the left foot wide. Right foot wide, come back through center. Take fingertips to the tops of the thighs just for a moment. Recovery pose, breathe. We're actually going to step the feet to hip distance apart. Again, I like my feet a little bit wider than hip distance. It gives me a stronger base. Take the hands forward. Really fill into the space between the shoulder blades. Softness in the knees. Root the hips back. Sweep the hands back, cupping the back of the head. Press the head into the hands, almost like you're trying to pick up the head off of the shoulders. So we really lengthen the neck, and consequently we lengthen the belly as well. Send the hips back, back, back behind you, hinging at the hips to come forward. Continue pressing the head back into the hands and lifting up from the back side of the rib cage. Stay buoyant. Come forward, forward, forward. Right away, you should be feeling a stretch in the hamstrings. Connect the toes, press down and out to the sides, fire up the glutes. Last inhale, forward fold. Tuck the chin, roll back up. Find an extension, hips root back, forearms rise high. Lift and lengthen. Keep this length. Send the hips back, back, back behind you. Hinging at the hips, torso comes forward. Soft bend in the knees, but connect to the hamstrings. Nice stretch. Take one full inhale here, breathe. And then round forward. Ripple back up. And we'll do that one more time. Rise high through the forearms, lift and lengthen. Keep the belly long and the throat open as you hinge at the hips. The torso comes forward. Engage into the glutes. Knees hug external. Breathe. Round forward. And ripple back up. We'll end on an extension. Rise high through the forearms. And we're going to take the heels and narrow them towards the midline. Setting up for a deep squat. Keep the length in the belly, open throat. Bend at the knees, send the hips back, back, back. Knees splay open as you come down into a squat. Press the ground away, lift back up, elevator style. Let's change the grip of the hands. Interlace the hands in front of the heart. Take the thumbs to the top of the head. This gives us something tactile to press the head up into, and the elbows hug narrow towards the nose so that we can keep fullness in the rib cage. Bending at the knees, send the hips back, back, back behind you. Keep the length in the belly and the openness of the throat. And then press the ground away, lift back up. Rise high through the forearms. One more time, so strong. Lower, pressing the head up into the hands the whole way to keep the length. Release the hands. Dome fingertips to the mat. Glide your legs from side to side. Plant the hands. Walk the feet back. Lower to all fours. Untuck the toes so that the top of the foot presses into the mat. Drag the top of the foot back towards the knees. Notice that this helps to root the hips back. The glutes spread wide behind me and the lower lumbar dips in at the base of the spine. Press the mat away strong, fill the rib cage and lift the chin. Pulse the hips back, ribs forward. Now there's lots going on here. The knees press down and out to the sides to engage the glutes. And the hands are almost scrubbing back towards the knees as I reach the ribs forward so that I'm connecting to a length and tone in the belly. Find stillness in center. Transfer weight to the right knee. Lift left knee out to the side, open leg. The knee doesn't have to come up so far. It can stay nice and narrow towards the mat and hug in towards the belly. So there's this motion, the knee comes forward, the hips root back. This allows us to keep softness in the front of the groin so that we're not taxing the hip flexors. And narrowing the knee towards the mat helps to open the pelvic floor. As opposed to if we take the knee up like this, we actually close the pelvic floor. Find little clamshells up and down with the knee. There's this energetic engagement in the leg as if someone was resisting, pressing on the outside of the knee as you lift up. Micro bends in the elbows and grip the mat strong with the hands. Find stillness. Kickstand the right foot off of the mat. Sit the hips towards the heel and then carry the left foot to the outside edge of right thigh. Sit back, sit deep, connect to this outer hip stretch. Come up onto dome, left fingertips. And this is sweet. The further you sit back, the more you're going to feel this. Inhale, plant the hand, come back through center to all fours. Take some big rib circles, barrel rolls in one direction. Finding your maximum range of motion, press the mat away. And then switch your roll to go the other direction. Find stillness in center. Set up your base nice and strong. Press the mat away, lift the chin, connect the top of the foot to root the hips back. Open leg to the right. The knee hugs in towards the belly as the hips root back. And begin to find clamshells up and down with the leg. Resisted quality the whole way. Isometric engagement. You notice I come up onto right dome fingertips. I'm rising through the ribs so high that my fingertips get light. This helps to lighten the load in my wrists. Take the weight into the rib cage. Lift the chin. Find stillness. Kickstand the left foot off of the mat. Root the hips back and then carry the right foot forward to the outside edge of left thigh. Sit back, sit deep. Pulsing forward and back, connecting to that outer hip stretch. If this is too much on the wrists, option to come down onto the forearm. I like to keep more space. Feel more in control. Inhale, release the knee back down to the mat, coming back to all fours. Press the mat away so strong. Tuck the toes to lift the knees to hover. Pivot the knees towards the left so we can lower the right hip to the mat. Plant the left hand, extend the right arm long towards the top of the mat to lie onto your side. Let this left knee drape over top of the right to meet the mat. Shimmy your hips back behind the heart. Press both arms forward. Let the head roll off of the shoulder to meet the mat. Arms swivel up towards the sky. Lengthen the belly, supine twist. Open the throat. This one's great. It's like you're lying in bed in the morning. You can press the knees forward to send the hips back and reach the arms a little bit away from you to really lengthen the belly. Breathe. Soften into your twist. Option to stay here, or you can let the left fingertips meet the mat above the head. Catch the outside edge of left thigh with the right hand. Come into a bind. Take one more full inhale. Extend the right arm long, lie back onto your side, press the mat away, plant the hands, rise back through center to all fours. Couple of spring loads through the middle, finding your alignment, tailbone lifts, lumbar dips in at the base of the spine, and we're rounding through the thoracic spine. So in this way, we're keeping the double S curve, the happy spine for alignment. Press the mat away, tuck the toes, lift the knees to hover. Pivot to the right, lower left hip to the mat. Extend the left arm long, lie onto your side. Let the right knee drape over top of the left and shimmy the hips back just a little bit. Press the arms forward and swivel up towards the sky. Back of the head meets the floor. This is nice for me. I don't have to get my shoulder all the way to the ground, and I feel a pretty good twist. Soften here and breathe. Option to stay here or catch the bind. Right fingertips meet the mat above the head. Left hand catches outside edge of the thigh. Guide yourself into a deeper twist. Take one more full inhale. Press both arms to the sky, roll all the way onto your back, and shimmy your way back onto the mat. Let your fingertips meet the mat, domes above the head with the elbows up towards the sky. Take the feet wide to the edges of the mat. Let the knees fall to the left. Gentle twist. Press the head back into the mat. Lift the chin and open the throat. Lengthen the belly. Engage the core, draw the knees back through center, press the feet into the mat, pick up the bum and just set it back down to neutralize the spine. And let the feet fall to the right, knees fall to the right. Take a couple moments to breathe deep into the belly. Engage the core, draw the knees back through center. Lift the bum, set it back down. Hug the knees into the chest and give yourself a big squeeze. And love yourself right up. extend your legs long to the back of the mat. Take your hands to the bum. Pick up the flesh and just move it out from underneath of you. Reach for opposite shoulders. Move the shoulders from underneath of you. Get a little bit more of your back onto the mat. Gentle press of the head into the mat to open the throat. Rock on your heels and let everything settle to the floor. And stay in your hug or take your hands out to the sides, palm face up or down. And take a deep cleansing inhale, fill up. Exhale out your mouth. We'll take one hand to the belly and one hand to the heart. And we'll close with a collective breath. Big, full inhale. Exhale. If you have space to rest, I suggest that you take it. Stay for as long as you have. And that's all she wrote for me. So if you've come with me this far, thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.